is equality, freedom, and respect for the woman. All right. And then the final portion that we will bring about the new videos, um, flying on social media, rape and molestation. But we'll start with, the equality, freedom, and respect for the Liberian woman, who will be a little bit uh, maybe academic or professional or theoretical, if you like. And from there now we'll descend into rape, what's causing rape, men's behavior, molestation, video on social media. All right.
I'm about to go live on down. We'll call you back.
All right. So are you all set? I'm about to hit live. Okay, I'm hitting live and we are going live, guys. You will do your own introduction. I'm stressed right now to do that.
Oh.
Jessica, this is your first time?
We are live, please. All right, so we are live, and I think there's some music playing in the background. They're not going to hear us right now.
No, Linda, it's not my first time. I'm a part of Focus on Liberia too. I do the section relationship on talks on Fridays.
Okay, awesome. Make sure you go on first, introducing yourself, because I've never done this before. So I want to know exactly how it should be done. So I don't want to over talk. So I want someone who's been on it and is a part of it. So I don't, because I'm a talker.
Yes, you are a talker, and because of time, we should shorten the answer so we can cover a lot more.
Definitely.
Yeah, sorry that immediately after the show, I'll be rushing to work.
That's fine. But anyone that comes on this show here that has any kind of insults and attacks, I will deal with them. I'm just telling you right now. I don't take nonsense.
The firebrand, I know.
Hey, my big brother, stop it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll verify that there's audio. We good there. All right. I'm about to unmute all of us. Don't talk until I start doing the talking when I bring you in.
My name is Linda K. Fawaz.
Okay, folks in cyberspace, at this time, we want to welcome you to our program here at Focus on Liberia. This is our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony C. hosting. And today we have a very, very important topic for you in this conversation. Again, the network is focused on Liberia. The program is The Hour of Politics. Your host is Anthony C. We have some interesting and very important guests in studio today. I don't know about you. I am so happy to have them, and they are excited to be here, and we have a lot of good things to talk about. We're going to talk about equality, freedom, and respect for the Liberian woman. Again, we're going to talk about equality, we're going to talk about freedom, and respect for the Liberian woman. And to discuss this, we have two outstanding Liberian women in studio who have been in this business or advocating for equality, respect for Liberian women, and they are here, and we will hear from them and we'll hear them later. Also in studio is a gentleman by the name Benjamin Kofa Fanier, or Mr. Ben Finn is also here. And Ben, like many of you know him, doesn't shy away from throwing the punches whenever he sees fit. And so, folks, in cyberspace, this conversation promises to be juicier and entertaining as well as informative. We will unearth all the things that have been hidden when we don't care who is involved. The ladies are here to talk about it. Why do we have so many nude videos flying on social media in the Liberian community? What is going on? Who are those doing these things? They told me, whoever it is, they will point those people out if possible. Again, my name is Anthony Sie, and I'm happy to be here. Those of you who are in cyberspace, hit that share button. Share this show with your contact, with your friend, with your neighbor, because I'm telling you, these ladies can prepare. And when it comes to women issue, hey, who is better prepared than a woman? We have two women to do that. At this time, I will bring in my guest so that we can get started here quickly. As usual in Liberia, they always say, ladies and gentlemen. And so let's start with one of our own here at Focus on Liberia, who is known to be Lady J. Lady J, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Anthony. So I'm Lady J, Jessica Osterhart, but I'm formally or normally called Lady J. I have a talk show on Facebook. I'm also part of the Focus on Liberia team. I'm a student of psychology. I also advocate for the voiceless, and I'm into blogging, media, and I also act, and I'm a businesswoman as well. So with all these different qualities and duties, responsibilities, gifts that God has given me, I'm happy to be a part of the Liberian women that stand up to support, inspire, and fight for others.
Thank you, Lady J there. You heard all, and she doesn't hide away, and she's in the fight for women's rights, equality, and freedom for the Liberian woman. Also in studio is Lena Fawad. She will introduce herself. Lena, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Sie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. We're here to come and make some noise today. My name is Linda K. Fawaz. I am the founder of Empress Mindset. I was born in Liberia, and I can always say that Switzerland played a major role. It prepared me. America made me. The United Kingdom inspired me. And Lebanon taught me, and the Ivory Coast strengthened me. Today, my mission, my vision, my whole being is about uniting, promoting, collaborating, and empowering Liberian women and women all around the globe. If I can get my message out to as many women out there in the world to let them know the only way we women will stand strong, tall, by uniting, promoting, collaborating, and empowering one another. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, and we are happy to have you, Leonard. And also the gentleman here with us is Mr. Ben Finn. Ben, welcome.
Yes, sir. Good morning. I want to say thank you, and thanks to the other guests. I want to say we kind of do appreciate their appearance, especially so on short notices. Most of the role I'm going to be playing this morning will be basically reinforcing what the women will be saying, because I want to say this, like you said in your intro, when it comes to issues regarding females, it is good, it is wise to let the women take lead. So we'll be reinforcing, and we'll also be pointing out some of the significant events that transpire, that give evidence to the flagrant abuses of rights of women in Liberia. So I want to say thank you to you, thank you to the other guests, and I look forward to a very vibrant dialogue this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ben Finn, right there, giving an introduction. You heard him, and he's here to reinforce what the ladies have to say. It's a ladies' discussion, and the ladies won't be able to talk for themselves, and we, the men, will give them the support. All right, ladies and Ben, let's get started here quickly without wasting any time. You know, you are aware of our topic. We want to talk about equality of the Liberian woman, freedom for the Liberian woman, you know, and also respect for the Liberian woman. So let's start with equality, and starting with you this time around, Leonard. What is equality? And in this sense, we're talking about equality for the Liberian woman. What does it mean? What that is?
Well, I mean, I think when you ask me what is equality, my only answer for you is it's having the same status, rights, and opportunity as a man. Every woman today in Liberia has the right to a certain status, has the rights to any political, social rights a man should have, and any job that's available. If she's qualified and has the experience, she can have that opportunity. So today, no Liberian woman in any way, shape, size, or form should feel intimidated or in any way bullied because she's a woman. We were the first in the world to elect a woman to lead in Africa. So today, Liberian women are known internationally, worldwide, that we are strong women.
Thank you, Leonard. And like come to you, Lady J, what's your interpretation of equality in the context of the Liberian woman?
Well, one word that comes to my mind when we talk about equality is fairness across the board, justice, emancipation. When we have to think about equality, we have to go all the way back to ancient Greek. And, you know, they had these different mindsets about women when it comes to how the men saw women. They saw women as secondary citizens that, you know, should not hold positions in their governments and things like that. And based on that setup from ancient Greek, we have that through our history where women have been treated unfairly when it comes to how they're looked at. And, you know, it started all the way back in, you know, ancient Greece. So when it comes to Liberia, we are a little back, like we are not, you know, we have not become emancipated as women. And this is the century we are in. You should think that we should at least have some fairness, as Linda rightly stated, where we have, you know, voted in a woman to be a president of our country. You would think that by this time our country would be at a place where women would be treated fairly, but that is still not the case. And it's something that we have to continue creating awareness for, because I think it has to do with the mindsets and how people see things.
Thank you. All right. The man in the room, Ben, you are fortunate to have worked with United Nations where the issue of equality is so paramount. Give us your understanding as a man and also from your professional background as a UN personnel.
Well, basically, like the two other guests mentioned, it basically boils down to the equality under the law. That is, everybody is considered equal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we come to male and female, when we genderize things, what we do is, to some extent, we introduce bias, because I was just trying to review something right now. The Constitution of Liberia was amended just a couple of years ago, 1946. That's when women were granted the right to vote. I mean, can you imagine that just a few years back, 46. So that means for a significant time in the life of this country, women were not allowed to vote. They were not allowed to vote at all. So they have been experiencing what I would call systemic inequality. They have also been experiencing what I would call forms of discrimination that have become acceptable. I mean, it almost like became the norm. Even though it was a bad thing, people accepted it as the norm. So this show is good. We are looking at rationale to inform and to maybe throw some light on the concept that everybody, whether male or female, should be equal under the law. Like one of our guests just said, you know, when it comes to job opportunities, when it comes to even ranking in our way of life, we have to make sure that everybody is equal. We have to pay less emphasis on gender, whether the person is a female or a male. So I think for me, the bottom line is equality under the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And ladies, I want us to take a little historical look here, just only in a Liberian context. Let's leave out the European aspect of it. Lady J tried to introduce that when she spoke earlier. In Liberia, historically, and this also not only unique to Liberia, other countries have this too, but let's look at the Liberia context. Our women, our mothers from day one, like Ben was trying to say, was excluded into participation into governance. Even in our homes, you know, women were more like, okay, they should only be in the background. When I look at our laws, especially the laws of Liberia, at some point, women could not vote. The Alien Nationality Law of 1956, at the time, if a woman had gotten married to a foreigner, that woman automatically ceased to be a Liberian. We had that kind of law. Even to this day, there are instances a Liberian woman can give birth to a child that is born onto a foreign father, and at some point in their lifetime, that child will cease to be a Liberian. You know, it speaks to the issue of equality that we're saying, we were talking about, rather. So how do you women feel that some way, somehow, historically, there is this place you've been placed that does not equate you with the men in terms of rights, you know, and participation? Let's start with you, Lena.
Well, you know, I will say this to you, Anthony. When it comes to equality, it's just about per the meaning of the word. You know, everyone should have a right to participate in the development of their country and be able to contribute in any way they see fit. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And obviously in accordance to their qualifications and experience, and not according to who they know, okay, or where they come from in the country. And I think a lot of times in Liberia, per se, people tend to be sidelined because of either their tribe, they don't have the connection, and above all, gender. It all falls back into this gender thing. And I go back to repeating what I said when we were talking about what it means. The mere fact that we chose a woman and the world was witness to us choosing a woman to lead as the first woman in Africa, this alone is a message to the Liberian women. We are strong. We are strong. We are resilient. So for me, everybody should get a chance and an opportunity equally to be able to contribute and to be a part of developing Liberia. But it goes back to us women. We women haven't made up our minds. We women today are still fighting each other because we're still in that mindset of, oh, she will get bigger than me. She will get F quicker than me. No, this is where people need to strengthen their spiritual health, because everything that's destined for us is from God. You know that and I know that. So today, the only thing I can say is exactly what I just said. We need to not focus on what this person is saying, what that person is saying, what law is there, what law isn't there. We today as women should not feel that anyone, meaning a man, can make us feel that we don't have the right. No one should be able to define you, to confine you. Do you agree?
I do agree. Thank you.
Okay.
And Lady J, 3 questions come to mind, and pay attention. How should Liberians see equality to understand it? And what are the benefits of equality for the Liberian woman, if you like? And how can Liberian women realize equality in a culturally man-domineering society?
Okay, I'm going to start from the bottom. How can women realize equality? When it comes to realization, I always think about empowerment and awareness. And I think we the advocates should do more when it comes to actually letting other women know how important it is to stand together. Because I think when we stand together, we listen together and we act together. And there's, we've come to a place where, as Linda stated, us being in this male dominant society where women kind of like look towards the men. And, with us being in the States and in the diaspora, some of those things have changed. Women getting jobs and stuff like that, the mindset has begun to change. But in Liberia, we still have a situation where women are not really aware. And if they are aware, they are not trying to be cognizant of the benefits or realizing what it means to be equal, what it means to have freedom of being on the same page and on the same level of a man. So that's kind of something that I feel that advocates can step in and do to kind of continue to create that awareness. Now, when it comes to the benefits are huge. When we come to that place of realizing, that there are no laws preventing us from being all that we can be, and it's just really a mindset and a cultural thing that has followed us, years after years, we will be able to change and get to that place of where we want to be. But if we, again, are not aware that this is, there is no law. If there was a law that states women have to stand behind the man, there was a religion that said, women have to be, lower than the men, that's a different thing. But it's harder when it's a mindset, because I have to accept that I am this. And if I cannot accept that I am a certain kind of way, I can't move on. So I can't hold my sister's hand and say, sis, come here. And even if I did and my sister isn't understanding what I'm saying, she's not going to be able to move on. And that's why I brought up that fact in the first answer, that women have to try to kind of come to stand together. We have to be able to recognize our strengths and our weaknesses, put our hands around each other and say, hey, this is the way forward. The first question, you said, how do Liberians see equality?
Yes. Yes, quickly.
Well, I mean, it's there, but it's like unspoken, where these things are still bothering us up to today, where women they feel they have to get to know someone or sleep with a person to get a job, to get out there, to get to that next level. So we don't really, it's there, but we can't see it. We're not cognizant of it. And that's bad.
Thank you. And Ben, we men, and I want you to be giving this from the man perspective, if you like, in the culturally man-domineering society, there's this collective guilt now, on us men. How do you relate to that? How do you come around it when you come to realize that, look, I think society has been a little unfair to our sisters here, to our mothers here. And, you know, I mean, how does it make you to feel as a man? And how can you then help to change that?
Okay. Let me first say this. My case is unique because I would say I have a bias. I grew up with my mom and 5 sisters. So like most times, in most incidences and most instances, I would side with, I would side with the female because my upbringing taught me that, the females, they put more thought into the things that they do. You know, men have this kind of a thing that I'm a
Don't
man, I
care.
can do it.
Yeah.
That lady put in more thought. They kind of think through. But let me give you one interesting statistics about Liberia before I answer you.
Okay.
In the 4 major counties in Liberia, Monserrato, Nimba, Lofa, and Bong, the 4 main counties, especially so Monserrato County, the women, they are more than the men. In those 4 counties, I'm talking about current statistics. I can give you the figures, the number. That's what I was trying to note down. In the 4 major counties, the women are more than the men in terms of numbers. So when you look at that and you bring into perspective the cultural aspect of how we live, you feel you can see that there have been some intentional suppression and oppression of women's rights. You can see that it's almost been like intentional, even if we add the cultural aspect to it. There have been some intentional suppression and oppression of women's rights. So as a man, the way I see it is we have to accept women, not only as Liberians, but as our equals. We have to treat them as such. Let me just say something that will kind of shock a lot of people. Look at all the people that win elected office in Liberia. Look at all the people that we elect. If you look at the House, if you look at the Senate, we have very few women in there. And if you put that side by side with the statistics, that shows you that the women are more than the men in these 4 major counties. You try to understand, but how is this possible? I can tell you why. I think to a large extent because of the long-term, suppression and the long-term of trying to make them feel inferior. They have begun to vote almost against their own interest. So I think we as the men, we owe it to ourselves to make them feel that sense of equality. We owe it to ourselves to make them feel that their voices are heard. We owe it to ourselves to make them feel included. So I think just that sense of an environment under which everybody is equal, and that kind of attitude by the men will go a long way in terms of making them feel welcome, making them feel a part of the whole, and making them feel that Liberia belongs to us all. But the last thing I want to say, Monserrato County, Nimba County, Lofa County, and Bong County, can you imagine? Those are the 4 highly populated counties in Liberia. The women are more than the men. They're more. So I think it is high time we treat them as equal and give them the respect that they deserve in everything we do in our national life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Again, folks, in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony C.A. But we are not too political today. Maybe we will in the next segment of our show, because this is the Hour of Politics. And when we come here, we always find a way to talk politics. In studio, Lady J. Also in studio, another lady, strong lady, who is an advocate for women's rights. Her name is Lina Farah. And we have Ben Finn also in studio, and I am your humble host, Anthony C. And we are discussing equality, respect, and freedom of the Liberian woman in the maze of nude videos and naked pictures flying on social media in the Liberian community. Why is this happening? Where is the respect? And what is the freedom of the Liberian woman? Let's touch on one last question on equality, then we'll move to respect and freedom, and then we'll spice it off with, the new videos and all
Don't
that.
forget about rape though, because rape
Yes,
is
yes, and rape. I'm not going to forget that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And my final question on equality to you, ladies, is: do Liberian women need to fight? Do they need
Of
to
course.
compete? Do they need to demand to get this equality? And if so, why do they have to, when men are not competing, when men don't have to fight, to enjoy equality? Let's start with you, Lady J.
Thank you for the question. And you made me smile here because I remember I spoke on something like this some time ago, and I said, in order for advocates in the diaspora to really help the people back home have to be in line with what is being done. And when I say in line, they have to have an understanding that, yes, we want to fight for this. It's hard for someone to come from another place and tell you to get up and fight. You have to want to fight. And so the best that we can do is to continue to create the awareness. And that awareness should be deep enough to make people get up and say enough is enough. And if we can't get to that place, that's kind of where an advocacy can stop. Because Linda can't just go Liberia and stand all by herself in the street. I can't go Liberia and stand all by myself in the street and say, y'all cannot fight, and stuff like that. Nobody's going to listen to us. They're going to be like, where y'all coming from? Why you got your mouth in our business and stuff like that. So it has to start from on ground. The women on ground need to realize that we need to fight. And once they start, then we can follow and put our arms around them and say, yes, we can do this.
Unity, unity, unity.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda. Same question.
Well,
do you
I will
women have to
definitely tell you,
fight
yes,
the
of
men
course.
and compete for equality?
Yes, of course they need to fight, because in Liberia today, the top positions are being occupied by men who are the employers. And if they have no intention of empowering a woman who is, probably more qualified than they are, competition for jobs does not come into play. So
Right.
my point I'm trying to make to you is, this is a country, again, Lady J, again,
Right.
we elected the first woman in Africa to lead. We elected the first woman in Africa to lead.
Right.
We shook the world. This is a woman I admire so much. And every time I'm in her midst, I'm tough. I'm tough. She gives me goosebumps, because I'm like, wow, she's strong. Wow, she's the ultimate girl boss. But you know what's interesting though? She did get this platform. The whole world rolled out red carpets for Ellen Johnson's Sirleaf. That I would tell you, without even blinking, without even uttering or stammering. The whole world rolled out red carpets for this woman. But the only thing is, before getting into too much politics, which we're not going to do today, and we're going to get an opportunity to do it another time, the Empress mindset is about what? A woman. What is an Empress? An Empress is a woman of power and rank. What is the mindset? It's her attitude and behavior towards her journey. Now, today, Mrs. Sirleaf served for 12 years as the president of Liberia. She was the first woman to lead in Africa. She shook the world. Again, I will say it again, she shook the world. But was she in a position to change the mindset of the Liberian people? Was she in the mindset of to be able to change the mindset of the Ivorian women? Was she in the? We asked this question over and over. So going back to we don't want to get into politics. Of course, we're going to continue fighting. And as Lady J said, if we women don't come together and show unity, we're lost. We're gone. We're finished. And we're going to be left with what? No education and no justice. We're going to be left uneducated with no justice. So today, I will say to all my Liberian women and sisters, we better stand together. The time we take to fight, to degrade, to demean, to attack, we're only making the men stronger, and we are staying in the position of being looked at as the weaker vessel. They say we are the weaker vessel. We give birth to nations, right? and we are the hand that rocks the cradle. But yet and still, we can't stand together because everybody got some kind of beef or some kind of unnecessary drama. And today I find it a shame because this woman set the world on fire, and she put Liberian women on a platform that no other woman in Africa and around the world got. So today I would tell my Liberian women and sisters, you want to use this woman as your reference because she set the stage on fire. She showcased us, but today we are still in the gutter. We're still in the gutter because of our mindset. Change your attitude and your behaviors towards your journey. Thank you, Anthony.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Lena. And Ben, quickly.
I want to say something. You know what you said, the basis of your question was, should the women fight or compete? Let me tell you, I disagree with that. Let me tell you why. When you apply for a job anywhere in the States, there is a part of every job application form. They ask you if you are a minority, if you are Indian, you know, all this kind of thing. What I'm trying to say there is they have some protective, name for groups of individuals that will be, you know, will be pushed ahead. I want to say this because of the long-term the discrimination these people have faced. And we want for the legislature now to look into it and see if they can craft legislation in terms of giving them certain protective status. That is number one. Number two, we can make all the laws because we have a lot of good laws in Liberia. The most important element we need in Liberia is enforcement. We don't have enforcement. We have all the laws in Liberia. I mean, you and I, we talk about all the rapes going on. We have anti-rape laws. We have all the laws. But we have to see how any kind of a legislation that will be passed to protect the rights of these people will be enforced. That is number two. The third thing I want to say, and which I think is the most important one, I want to see organizations that are formed with the express intent, that should be their goal, of protecting and advocating for women's rights. You know, we have all the NGOs, we have all kinds of grouping around, but I want an organization that will make it a core responsibility protecting women's rights. That is, if they see anything wrong, they can use the processes of the courts to kind of seek redress. But I want that to be their focus. Thank you.
All right, Ben there, thank you. Folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony C. Hosting. Our program is the Hour of Politics. We are now about to get into the most interesting part of the show. We wanted you, our audience, our viewers, and our followers to know what we are talking about. We wanted to give you a much, much deeper understanding of equality, respect, and freedom of the woman. In the midst of Nude videos flying on social media in the Liberian community, and also Nude pictures, and also talking about rape and molestation of the Liberian woman. And who are doing this? Why are they doing this? How can we hold these people accountable? How can women also hold these people accountable? That is the next segment of our show. And so quickly, I'm back with my guest. And so if you have not shared the show, it's about time to do that. You will get all the secrets today. And let's start with you, Lena. Let's come to, freedom and respect. In the midst of these Nude videos that fly on Facebook or social media, and these pictures, some of them are being shared on social media by some big people in the Liberian community. Why are they doing this? And then we're talking about rape. We're talking about molestation of the Liberian woman. Why are these things happening? Do our sister, the woman, deserve, this kind of behavior from some of us? So our first question here is, why is there so much respect for the Liberian woman in making
Disrespect.
her own, yes, so much disrespect. Why is so much disrespect for the Liberian woman to the extent that, videos of her, her nakedness, sexuality, being placed on social media, and then rape
Um,
is also all over the place. What's going on here?
well, I would say, you asked, why is there so much disrespect for the Liberian woman in making her own decisions, is
Mhm.
basically what the question is.
Yeah.
Well, it comes from her upbringing. Children live what they learn. Children live what they learn. The parents are the ones to be blamed. And I say this to you, the parents are the ones to be blamed because look at the background. Like look at the type of person that gave birth to them. And look at the type of environment that the person who gave birth to them put them in. So when you see women behaving in a manner where you see for Liberian people, oh, that girl so rude, that girl can cuss her mom, oh, that girl this, cussing your mom, jumping your mom to fight, oh, all I want there is rudeness. But when you go out of her house and you sleeping with every government official and you passing around disrespecting yourself, that's the biggest disrespect. You can disrespect your mom and your pa. You understand what I'm coming from? So
Oh
it has
yeah.
a lot to do with your upbringing. It has a lot to do with your upbringing. You know, some people, Mr. C, have a way of, I don't know, demonstrating, exemplifying certain mannerisms, which we consider in our Liberian society as rudeness. But for me, the biggest rudeness is taking your panties down and running around from place to place. That's rudeness for me, because that's not, because it doesn't represent those people that sitting in the home that raised you. So obviously the problem is coming from them.
Thank you. And Lady J, you just heard Lena, talking about the greatest disrespect is you taking your painting down, maybe just about any man who smiles with you. And
Thank you.
and then at the end of the day, you want to cry that your pictures or the videos flying on Facebook. Is the Liberian woman to be blamed here, or is the man or the other woman who share it on Facebook?
No, Anthony, no. You didn't understand my answer. You did not understand my answer. You did not understand my answer. What you didn't understand was I was saying to you, the question that you asked me, read it to yourself one more time. You asked me a question and I gave you the answer. Now you're trying to make it seem as though I answered another question. No. No Liberian woman, including myself, if I chose to take naked pictures of myself to send to whoever I wanted to send it to, has the right to in any way be disrespected, in any way disrespected by any man or any man's woman or any man's girlfriend. So this is what I want you to get clear. Is that what I was saying to you is, this is not about taking your panties down, taking naked pictures that gives the right to any other woman to circulate your pictures or to post them on social media. Okay?
Thank you for the clarification, but I was just asking who is to be blamed here? Your point was the greatest respect is for a woman to, if I can paraphrase you, just take her panty down, just about,
No, you said, no, you asked a question. You said, why is there so much disrespect for the Liberian woman in making her own decisions? Are you understanding me or not? I said to you that children live to learn. Did I not?
You did.
And I said that it comes from the home training. And I said today, if women feel that, people are saying, oh, you're disrespectful because you cuss your mom, or you're disrespectful because you fight your mom. No, the disrespect is going out of your mother's house. Are you listening to me? And taking your panties down and sleeping with everybody, because you're only demonstrating what you've lived. I don't know if you're understanding what I mean, live to learn. If somebody didn't set that example before you and show you that this is how life is, you will not know how to do that. So you live to learn.
Thank you.
Understand me?
Thank you. Yeah, I understand
okay.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
And Lady J, let's come to you. We're talking about respect here for the Liberian woman. We see these videos, nude videos on social media. Why are people doing this? I mean, women are women equally guilty of this behavior?
So, Eleanor Roosevelt said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent."
Okay.
Now we're gonna go down into the psychology of what happens when a woman allows herself to go on this journey. And then I will tell you who's responsible. So we have a lot of, women in our community and other communities that did not get their father's love or attention. And as they go into their lives, they seek for this attention from the men that they are intimate with. What I do, or what a woman does in her private time when it comes to her sexual acts or behavior is her right.
Thank you.
When someone decides that they want to take a picture of their body to spicing up their freaky side, that's her right. When that picture leaves the confines of the privacy of she and this person and goes out there, her rights has been violated.
Lady J, let me just, I'm getting a bit annoyed right now. Like, an incident just took place in Liberia about 48 hours ago. And it has touched me to the bottom of my soul. You have a woman who sits in a high-profile United Nations organization, agency, and is an internet UN staff. How do you get into an exchange of fire with another woman, and then it becomes a public dispute and ridicule, where you actually pay people to get on the internet, which is called cybercrime, to go and circulate naked pictures of your own Liberian sister? Why? Who the hell do you think you are? Okay, maybe you feel today your husband is in a position of power. I don't give a damn. Well, he would be here in 12 years. This is somebody that probably some of us will see him. I mean, when you look at all the Liberians that have come to power and left power, where are they hungry? They're on the sidewalk hungry and looking for the next Lebanese or Indian man or whosoever, or so-called black money investors to beg. For me, I think today, this particular incident took place 48 hours ago. His Excellency George Mani Weah must take a stand. He must take a stand. This is unacceptable. People need to stop abusing their positions of power, their authority, to think that they can use these platforms to attack, to degrade other people. In every other country around the world, rape, cybercrime, anything that has to do with pornography. For crying out loud, I've read so many articles since we've been in this quarantine about all kinds of pornography that goes on in European countries and in the great United States of America. People go to jail. People sometimes get life sentences for this type of stuff. But when you have a society where nobody is held accountable because the whole country is set up where you are a government official, you have a right to rape your country and your people of their human rights and their basic daily food and whatnot. Who can they hold accountable there? No. I'm sorry I cut you off, Lady J, because you and I have the same kind of firepower and we have the same beliefs and we look at things in the same way. Today, this must stop. 48 hours ago, I didn't sleep. My eyes stayed open. How in the world can you take pictures of a naked woman, circulate it on social media, and you say you represent an international organization, you work for a UN agency? How does that work that way? This woman should be fired. This woman should be put on serious punishment. And not only just punishment, this is not about going to a Liberian courthouse because our judicial system has failed us. Everything has failed us in that country. The only thing that's in Liberia that everybody looks at, I want to be president, I want to be representative, I want to be senator. You have women sitting in positions of power. They don't even represent what we call woman. They have, I mean, it's an ongoing saga and drama. Nobody there. You want to tell me today, this young woman that in the last 48 hours, her pictures of her naked body was circulating. You want to tell me now one Liberian woman sitting in a government position? Why do I call my organization the organization? Because it's a call to action. It's putting women on a platform to let them know if you don't come out and voice out for the voiceless. Today, if you say you're in the legal and justice department, what have you done as a lawyer? What have you done as a judge to take on any kind of pro bono case or to take any kind of case that involves people who are poor? and they don't have the means. Today, you have women who will let their daughters themselves become victims of rape. Why? Because of what? Poverty, fear, intimidation. Why? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I just had to step in there. And I think when I answered my last question, I was a little misunderstood. I got a little, excited, and I stepped in and I made sure I made the correction. Today, you are your own woman. You have a right to take pictures to send whoever you want. That is nobody's right to take your private pictures to circulate on social media. This woman shouldn't even be sitting in her house. She should be in jail. She should be behind bars. And the people who are aware of who this woman is, they know exactly who she is. She should be behind bars. Excuse me, continue.
The firebrand, Lena there, coming out strong. Little J, you can continue. You know, we still talking about.
I'm sorry, Lady J.
Yeah, the new video in the midst of, rape, molestation, all these things. Let talk everything. Let us not leave everything out right now. Quickly.
It's okay, Linda, because I actually broke the story when it started on Friday. Actually, this story started on Friday. And as I said, in the show, I'm a media person, I blog. So I actually broke the story. And, there is there's a reason behind everything. But as you rightly stated, what went on between both ladies should not have happened. And where I stopped, talking about it or, putting screenshots up was when this young lady picture started to circulate. As you stated 48 hours ago, I had to kind of take a step back. And the whole night, Monday night or Sunday night, I thought about writing a letter to the president.
I didn't sleep.
I thought about writing a letter to the president, and
of course,
and I thought about.
But it's a disrespect to him because he calls himself a cheap feminist. You are a cheap feminist, and you allow this kind of thing to happen under your rule.
I thought about writing an open letter to the president, and I had all my thoughts put in place of what I wanted to say because I think the ladies in power are very uncouth. They are very uncivilized.
Of course. But my girl, how many are, the problem with real women, when God favor you, who can deny you that favor? When God, how many are there that look at me, they spy me, when they see the different men then drooling and dying over me, I say, what make you think you taking your ugly monkey face to go sit down with men that want me? What man will want me will want you? Why people can't accept that you got levels? And I don't understand. Everybody feel, that can cut your throat. No, God cuts throats. It's not you as an individual. You have that kind of power, you be bigger than anybody. People need to behave themselves. This whole thing is about envy and favor. And the problem is people need to go to churches. Coronavirus has come to confine us, and they still have not taken Bibles and found different ways of healing themselves. Because why? These people here live in a denial. They live in a denial. I'm so sorry that I'm getting really out of control, but it's just nonsense. I'm like, how many women I know in Liberia that have tried to date, sleep, and carry on with men that have probably drooled all over me, and I'm like, okay. And they don't even know that just from one of my stupidness, craziness, and weirdness, and funny behavior.
Lynette, let Little J on her thought right there. Little J, quickly. Mm-hmm.
Yes, the violation starts from that person that decides that they're going to it's called cyberbullying, revenge porn, where somebody feels that they have to put someone's naked video up as a revenge, and it's not about the person that takes the picture. I mean, I wouldn't take a picture because you never know what happens when that picture goes into another person's camera. But some people, that is their freaky side of doing things. And if it happens, that they should not be violated in any way, shape, or form. Now, this situation that we're talking about here about, what's going on, I think I sent that information to you, Anthony. It's disgraceful for executive mansion inner circle to be doing these kind of things. I think they need psychological help. It does not speak well of the people that represent, the women that represent the men in the government. That something should be done about stuff like this, because if we can have this kind of disrespect from the very top, where women cannot put the lapa around the woman when she's naked in the market,
Thank you.
and say, let's put a lapa around this woman so that nobody can see her nakedness. When one woman nakedness is shown, my nakedness is shown, another woman nakedness is shown, because we all have the same kind of structure. So if another person thinks that, oh, if I put this person picture because it's not my image, so I don't have to be, I was embarrassed, and other women that have compassion were embarrassed as well, because if one woman is shamed, everybody is shamed.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Again, folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics, with me here, Anthony Cyr. We are discussing where is the respect for the Liberian woman. I'm coming to you, Ben, in the midst of these new videos or new pictures flying on social media. And many of these, the recent one specifically, is coming from political power players in our government. You heard one of the ladies saying that if this can come from the executive mansion, so who's accountable? That come to you, Mr. Ben Finn. Ben, clearly from what we're hearing, political power players are involved. And so who is there to hold these people accountable? Where are we?
Yeah, you see, let me just go back a little bit.
Yeah, please.
I don't know if I wish my audience could get my angle. I'm coming from an angle where I'll see the females in Liberia as a minority. And everywhere in the world, minority rights are serious rights. They are recognized and protected by legislation. Let me say this. We had a guest who said that when someone takes nude images, it is not another man's right to share it. That is the law. If you have my nude image, you have no right to share it unless I give you the say so. But what we have in Liberia, I will say this, my brother, it all boils down to lack of enforcement of laws. That's a basic thing. Because you see, as we talk about it right now, everybody knows about it. Have you heard of any investigation being launched in terms of where did this thing come from? Who are the culprits? You see, if there are enforcement of laws, they serve as deterrents. Yes. They serve as deterrents so that other people will not be comfortable.
And Ben, who should be calling for this investigation you're talking about?
That's what I said. If we can go back to what I said, I want a women's rights group. This group, their focus should be on protecting and advocating for the rights of women. By this time, they would have been the one to sue whichever agency or whatever, say, okay, this thing is happening. Where is your investigation in terms of getting to the bottom of this? You see, I would want an organization purely invested in protecting women's rights. So when any of these things happen, they have every right to hold whichever agency of the state is accountable. They can take them to court. So, well, this thing has transpired. We want you to take a serious look at this. Because if this thing was happening, people would be afraid to engage in it. But right now, as we speak, my good brother, nobody is held accountable. You and I, we're here on this show. We've had tons of new videos, tons of new images. What has happened? There's no deterrent. There are no deterrents. So whether it's coming from the top, coming from the bottom, nobody is being held accountable. So everybody thinks they can do it and get away with it. Until we have something in place that will serve as deterrents, people will not do it. But right now, as we speak, we can holler on this show for maybe 10 hours. Nothing will happen because there are no mechanism in place to hold perpetrators accountable. So what I think should happen here, like I will advocate for the formation of a women's group by women in Liberia. It should be a powerful group that women have the numbers. They can be collectively advocating for their own rights, because like this kind of incident is grave. I will tell you something. These are the kind of exposure that lead people to harm themselves. This is bullying. This can lead that individual to harm herself, to even kill herself. We have to look at all the implications, and this is serious. So until we can address it in terms of holding people accountable, we will go nowhere. So no matter where it comes from, we have to have something in place to hold them accountable.
Thank you. And Linda, these things been going around. Sometime back, I saw another one of two men, going at it. And somebody who shared a video with me told me that a political heavy hand was the person on the opposite side, who could not be seen. One could be seen,
Was
and
this the
that,
man Kata? Was this the man
yeah,
Kata? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
And so what? And our leaders, they themselves see these videos, and they see those who are connected or who are in the video who play a part in it, and they don't take action. Is it because they are equally guilty?
But what about this man that videotaped a young girl who was one of those girls that was used during the Ellen era, where she was one of those young girls in the communities that was out there,
Right.
lobbying for Mrs. Salif and all of that. And she
Mhm.
was married and she was caught on a video, doing the business. And the guy, apparently by accident, I don't know, shared it with somebody and they put it in one of these opposition chats. I mean, where were these women that she was on the field with, fighting and lobbying and carrying on? This man wasn't even brought to justice. Where do you, it goes back to what I said, accountability. In a country like Liberia, you rape somebody, you get 4 to 5 years in prison. In other countries, the minimum sentence is 25 years, and then they give you to the rest of your living life. Our country has issues. We are the only country that we don't take anything seriously. Everything is taken lightly. We had an American woman who came in with a missionary group and decided to come back to Liberia and explore. She got involved with some young guy who was a former fighter, and they started, I guess, I don't know, started some kind of loving business and whatnot. They created an organization. They created an organization to help and to alleviate the suffering and the pain and educate, and to also be able to educate young Liberian girls from in the different poor communities. And the community they focused on was West Point. Okay, apparently he was recruiting these girls by forcing them to have sex with him. 10 girls got infected with HIV and he was raping them. The nurse apparently said her salary was $60 a month. She was afraid to lose her job and to lose her salary. This whole thing became an expose. And how do we look in front of the world? In as much as I love Mrs. Salif, in as much as I respect her, in as much as I praise her and all of that, but where was your position as president of Liberia, as the first woman to be elected to lead in Africa? An American woman comes and this kind of thing happens under your watch. And all of this was hidden until Mr. Weah took office, became president of Liberia. He elected the first woman to be vice president. The first woman to be vice president, she ran to it because she liked money. I don't know. I mean, she ran to it and tried to cover it up because she felt that this was something that could give her all about greed and self-aggrandizement. It's about me. Women were raped, girls, poor girls. Instead of you going to tackle the issue, you there worrying about how you can become center stage and to be put on the cover of a newspaper or magazine. When do we stop all this foolishness here? I mean, I don't understand. The whole thing for me doesn't make sense. There are so many issues, Mr. Sia, that fall in our laps in front of us. And the people who are in the positions to take action, to make sure things are done correctly, they shy away because of self or greed. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
I am understanding you.
Days ago, I was watching on Cheche Pole. I think the question was asked to this woman who's vice president about how come you just giving food out to these girls. And she mentioned the organization which has been shut down. The international community shut it down, and the Liberian government obviously was forced to shut it down because I know it wasn't a decision the government made. I know it came from powers to be. They shut it down, obviously, because it was registered as an American foundation, and America doesn't want that kind of scandal. So you come in now, you say you want to feed the girls from more than me or more than I don't know who are. Why don't we stop all of this self-business here and get our acts together? Liberia is bigger than the Kru people, is bigger than the Loma people, the Pele people. Liberia is for all.
Thank you. And let me come to you, Lady J. So we still talking about the news videos, news pictures. Why I keep asking this question? Why is this happening? Are there laws? Ben was talking about laws earlier. Are there laws? If so, why are these laws not being enforced? Is the community outraged? Are Liberians outraged about this behavior? If not, I mean, why are they not outraged because some time ago, Edwin Snow, I will call his name. I think it was a party he was having at his place, and he gave a girl, I understand, $1,000, to dance naked, and it went viral. And then the same Edwin Snow, the Nuggets video, or pictures went viral. They even entered the newspaper, if my memory can serve me right. So the corporates, they go scot-free, right? Just like people who commit rape go scot-free. What kind of society we have?
There are laws, that are supposed to be followed, but the justice system in Liberia is so whack to the
Weak.
point where it's who you know.
Thank you.
And it's so the law doesn't apply. There is inequality in the law. It only applies to the poor people. But once you have influence, affluence, you got money, and you're in the president inner circle, that means you're free to do anything you want to do because you will not be held responsible for it.
Nobody held accountable, yeah.
So at the end of the day, yes, I remember one of the first new videos that came out that brought me into advocacy was this guy from Unity Party that had put this girl picture up after, her nude picture up, and a women's group from here decided to, join the fight. I don't know how far that went, but in Liberia, she took him to court, and he was put in jail for his behavior, for releasing her picture. But that was the only time something like this happened. Other than that, it's
But I will tell you something. This young woman that this incident happened to 48 hours ago, if she has access to the American system, I would take that individual to court, and I would go for her.
But Linda, you're not understanding, because even if Tangi, that's the girl's name, take Vivian, that's the lady that released the picture, to court, the justice system in Liberia is whack. Nothing's going to happen.
I didn't say Liberia.
But this woman is not the lady that got exposed. She's an American citizen because she lived here. But the lady that did the exposing does not live here. So she cannot bring a Liberian citizen to court in the States. It's not going to work. So
all I'm trying to say to you is I don't see why. And I think when I spoke with Tangi, I said, what brought all this problem? I called her, I was out of breath, and she told me, sis, let me call you. I said, no, I want to ask you what brought all of this. She said, no, I posted something about married women involving in lesbian sex or love, and then they sharing these lesbian women with their husbands, and I don't know what, and this, that. And I said, okay, but why would it have bothered her if it's not true? If I post something right now and say, all the women that like wearing red lipstick, why would you, Lady J, come cuss me and take my naked picture to come go be circulating on social media? Tangi has children. What is this? You don't do this. I don't care how angry you are. Today, I'll tell you something. I try my best to keep it real. A lot of people dislike me because they feel I think I'm some white woman and I'm so educated. Mr. Sia asked me to introduce myself. I gave a little bio of myself. If I had started to say, I have an undergrad in international business and marketing from Marymount University. I have a master's from City University in London in shipping, trade, and finance. I mean, I was the third Liberian woman to obtain a master's degree in maritime. Are you understanding me? But I didn't need to go there because today it's not about Linda Fawaz. It is not about Linda K. Fawaz. Today, this is about these women who are in a position where nobody's will speak for them. This woman should be brought to justice. I don't know her name. I'm just hearing her name for the first time. I don't know who she is. I just heard she was the wife of the Minister of State. I asked a few people, how did he allow this? He's so close to the president. He's supposed to be the president's confidant and really good friend. Oh, no, they ain't got control over her. Why are you married to a woman that you don't have control over? Why are you married to a woman that you don't have control over? What is the force? And Liberian people, you ask, that medicine? These people believe in power, self-power, and medicine. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And
Thank you, Lena.
The day in which he chose to do this is the day that Jesus Christ gave his life and sacrificed his life for us. You go on a holy day to go and disgrace the inside of a woman and you think that it makes you a bigger woman, you're a small girl and you need to be taught a lesson. If I were Mr. Ware, President Ware, I would have them handcuff her, shackle her, and put her in a cell.
Thank you, Leonard. Lady J, hold on. Let me come to Ben. Ben.
Yes, sir.
I know this topic is heavy on your heart for the main fact that leaders who should be holding individuals caught in this behavior accountable,
of course,
are themselves equally guilty, and most so they're not acting because they are connected to these individuals who are involved. And I think that where you were like, look, it should be women who should be demanding answers or should be demanding accountability. If women were average and in the street and maybe going to maybe the office of the president, that hey, there is a woman picture going around here, and our information is that it has come from one of your inner cycles connection. Maybe there will be something. And the president carry himself as a feminist. So has he lost that feminist nature or that character? Because this thing is out of hand, man.
No, you see.
But you don't understand. Liberians have
no, it's Ben
mentality.
time, Linda, please.
Okay,
It's Ben time, please.
Let me keep quiet. Sorry.
Yeah, one
sorry.
at a time. Yeah.
Well, you see the
Sorry,
thing, sir. What you're saying is, and I will say this again and again, we need a women's right advocacy group. Like just of what you're saying. If we had a group of maybe 500 women, 1,000 women in the street right now, demanding answers, they would have gotten attention. But you see, because there is no organized structure in terms of how their rights are protected, that's why these things keep happening over and over again. And I will say this, I would like to appeal to the women in Liberia to form an umbrella advocacy group. Their focus should be on protecting the rights of women. Let me give one small example. And I think I told you this thing on the phone. When I was a very young man, maybe 10 years old, I mean, maybe a little bit more, ladies' husbands died. The men died. And after a week, after everything, the family had a meeting. They had a meeting. And one of the male in that meeting spoke up. He looked at the lady. He said, oh, the man that you came to, the man has died. So you should pack your things and go. Literally, what I witnessed that day, that woman was dispossessed. You know, everywhere in the world, when a girl lives with a man, after X amount of years, she becomes his common law wife. She becomes his wife automatically. But what I saw that day, that woman was dispossessed. She was thrown out of the house, and the family took over the man's property. What I'm trying to drive home here is that the rights of the women in Liberia, there is no systemic way of protecting it. So if we have an umbrella female organization that will identify some of the abuses and try to, focus on them and work against them, they will have some answers like what we are saying right now. If we had women in the street demanding answers, they will get attention because this has been going on for far too long. We've had videos, we have images, we have all kinds of things. But what has been done about it? I mean, what has been done? What has been done? And nothing. So it will continue to happen until some kind of deterrent, until something is put in place to address it. So, what a Georgia wants it, what does whoever wants it, until the women can consolidate themselves and seek their own interest. I will tell you this, I will tell you one thing. I want them to use the courts. People will say, well, the court is not good. But you see, when you use the court, you name and shame. You see, you gave that incident exposure. I want them to sue until, court cases should go out of style. Because by then, you will be giving this thing enough exposure where some people will be even ashamed to engage in those activities. But until all those things are put in place, until all those things have been done, nothing will happen, my brother. You talk about the laws. We have laws in Liberia against what just happened. We have laws. It's on the book. But nothing has been done to enforce that law. And Like I said, if 4 of the main counties We have the females in majority. The women are more than the men in 4 of the most populated counties. They have the power. They only have to realize that and maximize it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And ladies, coming back to you, let go into rape. It's a subject we have not gone into. That would be the final segment. And let blend it with molestation of the Liberian woman or Liberian woman as well. The recent article I read talk about a man of God. Somebody told me that person having to be a bishop, but I read he is a man of God, a pastor, raped a girl of somewhere around the age of 13 in Liberia, and many other rape cases. Why are we having this behavior over and over at this alarming rate, and you don't hear about these people being held accountable? We don't hear much from the Ministry of Gender, representing these victims. We only hear that, oh, this person raped, and that's all we hear. And we don't hear about the accountability and necessary punishment. What is going on? Let's start with you, Lady J.
Yeah, we're not hearing about these things again because, as I stated before, the justice system in Liberia is whack. So we have a lady who's supposed to be the gender minister, who is the gender minister, who's supposed to be doing all that she can to kind of see how best the welfare of women are taken into consideration, and something's being done about these different things. 75% of women in Liberia after the war have been raped, and nothing has been done because most of the time people either feel shy to talk about it or they take it to the law and the men win. So nothing has been done. It's happening. It comes back, it boils down to the equality that we spoke about. We don't have the freedom as women as we should have in Liberia when it comes to certain things. If these men were being castrated when they rape a woman, definitely they would stop doing this mess. But they're not cutting all the block on it. That's why they continue sleeping with these women and these little girls and these little boys. Don't even leave the boys out, because little boys are being raped in Liberia now by ministers, government officials, and nothing is being done by it. Nothing. So don't even get my blood running, because this is the place where I'm going to be like Linda right now, because it's something that gets to me.
Lady J.
When I start to talk about it, give me a second here. Let me
allow me to juice it up. Are you trying to tell my audience that there are powerful women in governmental positions of trust who are seducing boys and giving them cookies without their consent?
About women. I say men. There are men raping little boys. I'm not talking about women. One
at a time, please. One at a time, please. One at a time, please.
They got a women who got people's daughters there to wash their panties and suck their fish. When they can't find men, they can't find men that one can't sleep with them. They got people's daughters that they bring from in the interior to say, oh, they want you washing my panties to suck their feet. I know one who's a live lesbian. Not to say I got anything against lesbians or gays. I mean, that's people's way of life. That's not my business. I have so many friends that are married to women, I mean, it's their life. It's their choice. But today, you got a household full of so small girls. And whichever one, now you suck cake, good, they bring the next. They're raping people's daughters, taking advantage. Then they call themselves women empowerers. How are you empowering? You need to be burned. Kerosene need to be spilled on you and light you up and burn you to ashes.
Oh, Lena, I think you will be taking the laws into your own hands, Dad. That's too harsh to say.
Sorry,
maybe you should take that person to the court. So,
Lady
J, you were in flight quickly.
As I was trying to say, and I'll continue to say, the molestation rate in Liberia is high because nothing is being done. Sex slaves are in Liberia. People bring these little children from the interior, bring them from, the villages, as Lena rightly stated, to wash their panties, and these things goes on. Like the little boys thing I'm talking about, media colleague of mine told me that she was doing a story where they have this garage that these little boys in the daytime are supposed to be working as mechanics assistant. So during the daytime, it looks like a normal job where they're working as mechanic assistant. In the night, they give them little soap and water to go bathe themselves behind the garage. And then these men in the government, right up there in the big cars, and if these little boys come into the car, they do it right there. And then they have anal sex with them.
Yeah, man.
They pay for that. So these are some of the sinister sexual deviance that is going on in Liberia against our women and children. And nobody is doing anything to stop these things because this is their pleasure. So the government that we're supposed to have as the people that are supposed to be there to stop the wrong are doing the wrong. They are the perpetrators. So there is nowhere to go.
There's no justice.
And so the little boys, they themselves don't know that they've been abused and molested and sodomized, and why can't they go to the authority to report this? Or they just, are they enjoying it?
Are you kidding me? If the authorities too come in there to sodomize them, where are they going? Do you think they're going to believe a little boy that works in a garage during the day and as a prostitute in the night against a government official? Are you kidding me?
Are you saying that the government officials are coming to the party?
Who do you think is paying for it?
People look, you just want to make fun now.
No, I'm not making fun. I'm asking serious question. And Ben,
yes, this place is being ran by someone that caters to government officials, men.
Wow.
That are looking for young boys, younger boys, underage boys.
Wow. This is a sexual corruption on a whole new level. And Ben, let me bring you in here. Let the ladies take a little 2 minutes break here. What is responsible for this? Is it poverty? Is it ignorance? Ben, speak to this.
Yeah. You see, there was a term developed in Liberia that I kind of like. It's called cash violence. I listen to all of you guys.
Yeah.
I listen to all of you guys, and from my studies, what the ladies are talking about is so true and it's so heartbreaking. You were trying to say these young men or these young girls, are they enjoying these things? No, they are not. They are not. They are literally victims.
Yep.
They're victims. Nobody will enjoy. So what happened is those higher ups are taking advantage of these people's poverty. They are, to a large extent, just simply abusing them. So, I mean, there's no enjoyment here. They manage to impoverish these young men and women, to an extent where these people are willing and desperate to do whatever just to survive. You see, then, when you look at it, you look at the inequality in our society. So, this whole thing has to be addressed in a holistic way. But I would say that before we look at all the angles in terms of how we have to address it, we have to name and shame. That's what the advocacy is important. That's what using the courts is very important, because once we can we can shine enough light on this thing, some people will try to avoid them because they will want to avoid the exposure. That's what the advocacy is key. But my friend and all the guests on this show, everybody knows that no young man or girl will enjoy this kind of abuse. This is just totally wrong. And the fact that it is so widespread within the Liberian society hurts me. Thank you.
All right, again, folks, in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony C.A. You might not be getting your usual hard politics, but you are getting the social corruption, or sexual corruption, if you like, of our country. And we must talk about the elephant in the room. Ladies, there is one thing from my observation many Liberians get a little more outrageous about or outraged about, to a greater extent, and that is when we hear about the other side. Sometimes people say, "Oh, that person crossed the road." I'm talking about individuals with different sexual orientation. It is their right, it's their choice, and we are not in the business of judging them. But culturally, it's a little bit across the road. And Liberians, many of us, or most of us, are outraged when we hear about that, when we see that. But when we see little girls being raped and being molested by men, you know, we don't have that same level of average. What is that? Is it because we are accepted it as the new normal? Let's start with you, Lena, on this one.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not about it being the new normal, but it goes back to everything we've been discussing in the last hour or so.
Mhm.
Nobody in that country has any thought of accountability. You have a lawless state. You have lawless people. You have everything is jungle justice. Everybody got some kind of relative somewhere doing something. I mean, it's I don't even know what to explain to you. It's like sad, but at the same time, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because it's just an ongoing saga. Everybody there got an entitlement because most of the people that rise to these powers that they arrive to, it's through luck or through who they know or because of their tribe. What is all of this? Stop this. Okay, get your act together, man. I honestly, I'm gonna tell you this. I've come to a point where I love my country. But our people have to change their mindset. Their attitude and behavior must change. The only way Liberia will move forward, and it's sad because everybody feels now that the country is at a standstill. The international community is holding back any sort of funding, any sort of, what's the word? I can't even think right now because I'm so angry about all of this that we've discussed. It's like, it's not about the country and its leadership per se, but even us as individuals. If we, as the individuals, the masses, the high polluting people, if our mindset is contaminated and our mindset is not prepared to change, where do we go? When is this moving forward? When is it going to happen? Is it going to happen when everybody dies? Is it going to happen when everybody got no more Duracell battery to be energetic? I mean, I don't know. It's like a question I ask myself many days, Mr. Sia, when I'm sitting. I'm like, well, when do people understand that, some of them, for example, I was looking at this list that they circulated about the U.S. visas that were, do you remember when they rejected those U.S. visas for the women going for that women's conference in New York that they go to annually?
Oh, really? I didn't remember that one. I remember
Anyway,
the pastors, the 75 or so, or 70 pastors
no,
being rejected. That's the one I remember.
they were all on their way to, they had a whole list of 160 something women apparently that were going, like they go annually, and some of them disappear in America to say they're not going back. But even if you want to stay in the U.S., to live in America, you have to have a particular mindset. I mean, you know that, and I know that.
Right.
I spent over 30 years of my life in America. I spent over 30 years of my life living in the United States of America. So I know America is not children's play. It's not a playground. You got to go there and you have to be focused. And if you intend on making your dream a reality, it will come to pass. But if you go in there with a Liberian mindset to think that you will do things and get away with it, you will get in trouble and you'll go to jail. Am I making sense or not?
All right. Yeah, you're making sense, and thank you. And we are almost to the close of the program. We have discussed all this. Little J, you can chip in with this hope, rape, and molestation, and how leaders who should be holding people accountable are themselves corporates, if you like. And, so how do we find a solution to this? How do we find a solution to this?
Well, I'm not going to go into politics. I'm just going to be social about the whole thing. If the leaders are the ones being the perpetrators, then we're not going to be able to change the mindsets or be able to fight for the people. So the leaders have to change their mindset. But when we have don't care leaders in our society that has decided to be part and parcel of the social deviance that's going on, if we have leaders that are imprudent and incompassionate when it comes to how they feel about their people, nothing's going to change. We're just in for a long haul. The only thing that we can do is continue to create the awareness. When I jump off this live, I'm going on my own live to go haul some tables, to go shake some tables about what happened about 48 hours ago.
But why can't you shake the tables here?
No, because we're coming finish here, and I'm a panelist here on my own show. I know exactly how to deal with this situation.
Go, Lady J, go.
I am going to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it the right way. I cannot do certain things here. I'm limited to how I talk, how I express myself, and how I do whatever. So when I'm done with here, I will go and do my show, and I will be able to express myself. But
I'm in charge here. You can shake tables, but don't use too much juicy words.
No, this is more diplomatic. You see what you need. My brother sitting over there looking all, pretty and proper. Not even
presidential. That man is looking presidential. I didn't want to say that to him, but he looks extremely presidential. And
the man looking all pretty and proper. You can't even say anything. So when you want to look at that, someone that president sitting in that corner over there and stuff like that. You can't even talk. So at the end of the day, I understand what I need to do. That's what I always do. But
right.
If the leaders cannot change their mindsets, which I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Then you shake their tables, right?
What?
Then you shake their tables.
Lady J, how can you consider yourself a leader when you can't even lead yourself?
Is that why it is? Are the leaders not able to lead themselves, and that's why we'll have this chaos on our hands?
Yes.
Liberian people today, I would say, to close this thing and to keep my mouth shut. Today, I tell every Liberian woman and girl, never waver, never neglect, never compromise. Every one of you got greatness. And today, your greatness, whether you're sitting in the Wolagusi Mountains or you in a village where you never saw a light switch in your life before, today, your greatness doesn't have to be a designer handbag or a man. It doesn't have to be a new pair of shoes. It doesn't have to be anything. Your greatness is your voice, which is your vote. So you want to make sure when you vote for the leaders, you want to know who you're voting for. That is your greatness.
Exactly.
Thank you. And let's come to you, Ben. The only powerful man in the house. Ben, you are running to be president of the republic. I'm putting you on the spotlight. You have plans to come here and declare, your intention formally, and we will be glad to host you and do that. But you are in a position now to speak to this outrageous behavior that has been exhibited by Liberians, women involved. How do you tackle this? Where do you start?
Thank you, my brother. That's a good thing. I would say this: successive governments in Liberia, during my lifetime, the most difficult task I have seen them, all of them, have been enforcement of the law. Enforcement of the law. Let me just give the last two. Ellen Johnson said it was nearly impossible to fight corruption. She said it was impossible. George Weah, my brother, George Weah just came in. He said, we are all related. So we are all related. You see, for any society to function, for any society anywhere to function, there must be law and order.
Yep.
Martin Luther King, he said one thing that I take as my oath. He said, peace is not the absence of war. It's simply the presence of justice.
That's right.
That means if I do something wrong, I know that I will be held accountable. You and I here, when we are on the highway driving, as soon as you see the cops, everybody start driving correct. It simply means we are aware that there is a deterrent.
Discipline.
There is a deterrent. But in Liberia, I will tell you this, and there's an indictment on George Weah. He has proven to be incapable of enforcing laws. So, I mean, just that, I don't want to go into detail because, I might spill out my soul on this show. We have women, young women in Liberia that have been raped, some of them raped to an extent where they were killed. They were killed. I mean, they died in that vicious act.
Yep.
We haven't heard about the accountability. We haven't heard about somebody being fully prosecuted. We haven't heard that. I mean, not a day go by. We hear this thing every day. It has even become normal. So until we can muster the ability to enforce the laws, nothing will change, my brother, nothing. So that's why I would tell Liberians, the only thing I would promise Liberians is accountability. Here they say when you do the crime, you do the time.
Yep.
So if you violate the law, we will not kill nobody. We send you to court and you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. So I think if we start doing that, some of these things will go away. That's why in the absence of that, I am even advocating for naming and shaming, because we cannot enforce laws. My brother, look at what's happening now as we speak. Look at what's happening today. We cannot even enforce a state of emergency. We cannot. There is no enforcement of laws in Liberia, so we will continue to have this until we arrive at a point where the laws can be enforced. And that's all I have to say, my brother.
Thank you, and my panelists, beautiful ladies, and Ben. We're gonna close like this. You're just listening to Ben. You do the crime, you serve the time. Two things. Two group of people. The authority playing their role, and the citizen also playing their role. That's the only way it will work. He referenced how the State of the Union, not State of the Union, or state of emergency, the government is either having hard time or because the citizens are not obeying. The citizens have their reason for not obeying. I hold the view that it was not planned properly. It was not thought through properly. But at least the citizens needed to obey. But that's a whole different thing. But my point here is that we Liberians are not accustomed, to obeying our laws. And as a result, it becomes difficult. And our leaders too, like Ben referenced the president, we are all related. So he can't enforce the laws on corruption, on this and the other. So to close now, for you to close, I want you to close with this. How do we, looking at these two components, make this thing happen in Liberia on accountability of all the issues that we talk about? Let's start with you, Lena.
Well, you asked this question even before we got to it again. It's not about how. I said to you, and I will say to you, and I will say to the other panelists and the people listening to this show, it's about us, our mindset. And it's about us choosing the right people to lead. When you decide on choosing a leader, you should look at the person's life, and you should determine from their lifestyle and their upbringing and their educational background and their experience and qualifications, whether this person was able to lead themselves. Mm-hmm. Leadership starts with the individual. It doesn't start with saying, oh, I became minister yesterday morning, or I became president 6 years ago. Leadership starts within the individual, him or herself. So today I say to my Liberian people and to all of you that this is about a mindset, and it's all about changing your attitude and behavior towards your journey. There's not much more I can say because we've been going back and forth. It's become repetitive. Your mindset is what will determine what is next. It's your mindset. We have to, you see, for me today, I will say one last thing to add to the women advocacy. You have so many women in Liberia. I'm not saying all. It's not nice for me to say that it's all because you can't generalize. But our people are poor. Today, our people are poor. They don't have the means. So any woman I get on the radio or send people in the different poor communities because she sees some kind of organization could give her little something, she puts women and girls in t-shirts to line them up like a bunch of clowns, to make noise, to sing praise songs for her. After that event ends, those people go right back to their miserable existences. They go back without food. They go back without any hope, without any kind of direction. So I say to the Liberian women and girls, I can't talk for the men because I'm not a man. I'm speaking for women because I know the sacrifices that were made to make me the woman that I am today. So I would say to our women and girls, y'all keep your little children home. Y'all stop running behind the politicians. Y'all stop running around. Because for me, all these people are just foolish people that just money they're looking for. None of these people. You got people who sit in the highest offices in our republic that sent for their boyfriends. Then from 1960 to Liberia, they use government properties, whether it be the office, the cars, to go and park themselves in hotels in broad daylight in front of security guards. When the security guards see that you're a woman and you sit in that position of authority and you bring in your boyfriend to Liberia to go put him in hotel room to say you're going to go talk to investor, to go have hours of sex and then come out of the room and act like, yeah, the deal is concluded. What example are you setting for other women? And what example are you setting for those securities that are looking at you and wondering? I'm making
Lena.
sense or not?
Thank you, Lena. That was a powerful closing statement. I come to you, Lady J, your closing statement.
My closing statement is from Martin Luther King, and he says, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. We still talk. There are some people who are dead because they don't say anything. They are silent about the things that matter. So as advocates, we'll continue to talk. We'll continue to create the awareness. Some way, somehow, it will start to change the mindset of the people. If it doesn't happen now in this generation, it will happen in the next generation, because at the end of the day, we're not doing anything for ourselves right now. We're doing it for our upcoming generation, for our children. So our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. And that is something that I live with every day when I get on and I talk about the things that matter, because we have to continue speaking so that people can hear. If we don't say anything, people are not going to hear. We have to continue creating that awareness so that people can come to the realization that, yes, something needs to be done based on the way we are. So I want to say thanks to the listening audience. Thanks to the other panelists that came on. I hope we can do this again.
Yes.
And Linda, I will be inviting you on my show one of these days so we can give it to their hearts.
Hey, Lady J, I enjoy you very well. I like a woman I like a woman who is about her other woman friend.
Yes.
That's what I like. It's unity.
Thank you. And Ben, to close.
Well, I want to say thank you to everybody, and these dialogue, these exchanges, they are kind of good. I wish the same thing could happen in Liberia. One of the things I noticed about Liberia is once people disagree, they are labeled as enemies. So I think that's wrong. I want this dialogue to continue, because the more we talk about these things, the more we can find the requisite ways of resolving them. So just thank you to everybody. And like the other guest said, we have to talk about this thing more and more. We have to, literally, we have to name and shame. So thank you to everybody. And I look forward to interacting with you guys again.
Thank you.
All right, to you, my panelists, as you can see, I enjoyed myself having you as panelists and answering the very tough question analytically, as well as in a more informed way. You unearthed a lot of things. You did not hold back to give my viewers answers they needed to hear, but also factual. We want to thank you so very much from us. I focus on Liberia. What we do here is we educate, we elevate, and we promote all things Liberia, and you surely did that for our audience. Again, we will not hesitate to reach out to you. Lady J is part of us here at this network. Lena, I will reach out to you. I would like to have you on the Hour of Policy on Thursday. I got a juicy topic for you, and I think you can nail it. Ben, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sier. Thank
Yeah,
you, thank
Ben,
you.
thank you. And I know I want to say to you, Liberians in the United States need to hear a lot from you, Linda, because you have a lot to share. And maybe we can
Thank
do
you.
that this Thursday. Folks, thank you so much for following us here at Focus on Liberia. This show will be on YouTube in the next 2 hours, and you can continue to watch. And to you, our panelists, when we do the YouTube version, we will share with you. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get all of our broadcasts whenever they are uploaded. Thank you, folks, and that will do it for us here. My name is Anselin Sie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.